Okay, so let me show you the best way that I have found to prevent and then win Stripe chargebacks. And my co-founder Ross swears by this method ever since I told him about it and showed him what I was doing to prevent and win Stripe chargebacks. So it's been proven to work in the wild, so to speak. Now, why do we want to avoid Stripe chargebacks? Well, they hurt your account reputation with Stripe, right? You have to maintain a level of chargebacks under a certain percentage. I can't remember the exact percentage. It's 1% or under 2%, something like that. You can look it up. Regardless, you don't want them. Now, the primary way really to prevent these is to provide great customer service. And specifically, you want to refund customers when they ask for it. And so you should make it apparent on your sign up page. In most cases, I would argue that, if they want to request a refund, they can do it. You can put it in your terms of service. Just make sure that it's apparent to the customer that if they have any problems at all, they need to reach out to you via email. And that will help prevent a lot of these chargebacks. Anytime a customer is not satisfied with the product and feels like they didn't get their money's worth, I immediately just refund them because it's not really worth having a chargeback. Now, relatedly, Stripe has a lot of great protections that you can sign up for, like Radar, which will help you if you enable them. And I do suggest paying the extra little percentage for them per transaction. I can't remember the exact pricing model at this point, but I do recommend them because some of these chargebacks that you get are going to be legitimate cases of fraud. And if you can just avoid that up front with Stripe's blocking the transaction, that can save you a lot of time. Now, the next thing is when you do get a chargeback and it has gone through, you immediately want to email the customer, okay? Email the customer, see if they can actually drop the chargeback, if they'll agree to that, and then you can simply refund them. An approach I've taken before is to actually offer to refund them, 2 months of subscriptions. That, of course, means that they had to have paid multiple, but attempt to do that. And there's multiple reasons for that. For one thing, it's the right thing to do. I often explain to the customer, hey, chargebacks actually hurt our business more than you would think. It's not really a system that's intended to be used to simply get a refund when you're not satisfied with the product. And I tell them I have no problem giving them a refund anyway. And many times this will, eliminate it. They will cancel it with their bank, and then I can refund them. And one thing I do have to say is most of these customers do not realize that the chargeback system is not really a system that's intended to be used when you're unsatisfied with a product or you don't feel like you got your money's worth. It's really, as far as I know, intended to be used in cases of fraud and when you did not receive a service at all. And I'm sure there's some other, use cases that it's for. You guys can let me know in the comments like usual. But really, my point is that emailing the customer can usually solve most of these chargeback issues. Now, when you can't get in touch with the customer or they don't want to do it, which that's fine, I totally get it. That's why this system is here. What you can do is you can then create a document that you will then upload to Stripe in order to provide evidence of why you think this chargeback is not valid. Now, the key thing about emailing the customer, like I was mentioning before, is that many times the customer will actually admit in the email communication that it was not a legitimate use of the chargeback system. And then you can actually take that communication, include it in your document that I'm about to show you, and then that kind of proves your whole case, right? Now, let me show you this document here. Okay, so what I use for this often is just Google Docs. And what you want to do is write out a clear letter that describes why this chargeback is not valid. Now, this one happens to be very, very short because this customer it was an obvious abuse of the chargeback system. He thought it was more just for, kind of requesting refunds, it seems like. But regardless, sometimes it can be longer. But what you need to do is, clearly write things out, explain why it was not a valid chargeback in your opinion, and then include all the evidence you have of that, including screenshots of communications with the customer, screenshots of your refund policy, URLs of that. Just include all of that in here in an orderly manner. And you can honestly use ChatGPT to help you write the email and make it sound more professional. Now, I always recommend, of course, to not send ChatGPT just unedited, make sure you edit it, although I'm not sure if the people reviewing this are as familiar with ChatGPT, but regardless, I always say do not just include ChatGPT output unedited because people will recognize it. But once you have all of that in the document, then you can export it as a PDF. And then when uploading here, just go to upload from computer and then include that as other evidence. And that's all you really need to include in here. Now, the reason we think that this works so well is that ultimately a lot of these are, I believe, reviewed by a human. And if you make it as easy as possible, just one single document that human has to look through, and if you're completely organized and have screenshots and evidence and communications with the customer, they are much, much more likely to rule in your favor. But these are the best ways we have found to prevent, which is the most important step, and then fight and win chargebacks with Stripe. So let us know how it goes using this approach, and let us know what approaches you all have taken that has also helped you fight and prevent chargebacks.